Like April would never end, and then May went by really quickly. And when we ended school, we also got to say, or had to say goodbye to a couple of our teachers that retired. So I just want to give them a huge shout out to Miss Susan Goss for 40 years of service with our school system, and Miss Lisa Danner for 30 years of service. So we went out with a huge drive-by parade to their houses. We had a police escort there. They thought we were a funeral procession at first. So that was a little bit funny and bad at the same time, because we had balloons that said congratulations. So I guess we were congratulating them that they moved on to a better life. But anyways, we did have a good time doing that, but it was a surreal moment to say goodbye to those ladies that have been a part of the Birchville family for so many years. So I wish them well on their next endeavor. Also this week we've been taking up enrollment forms, giving out sports physical packets, and selling yearbooks and getting those delivered. So tomorrow is the last day that that's going to happen. It's from 12 to 4. We do that underneath the awning at the cafeteria. It is really easy for those parents to drive by, and some of my teaching assistants, Miss Marsha and Miss Becky, have been there to do that. And just like Mr. Cash said, our custodians are just busy getting everything ready and kind of getting to projects that they were not able to do because of people not being in the building like we have been. So we're just moving on and moving forward, waiting for the next, whatever that may look like. So I don't have anything else unless y'all have anything for me.
We now have some of our principals going online, and we'll call for Miss Hamilton.
Hello, how are you guys doing?
There she is.
Okay, I would also like to say thank you to a couple people and everybody behind the scenes with these people. Mr. Shoemaker for getting all of our windows tinted. They look awesome. I'm very tickled with those. Thank you so much. Also, Mr. Shannon, our maintenance department. We've got 2 of our asbestos rooms cleared out, and they are doing all of our tiling, and that's looking really good. The custodians are working really hard and getting all that finished. So thank you for all that. Also, back to Miss Amanda on the project we did a couple years ago. The flowers and everything are looking awesome on our landscaping that we did with our students, and just a big shout out to them and thank you for that. We're just moving full force ahead with all the cleaning and everything we have to do. We're still planning on some more improvements and looking forward to getting all those done. Our second round of yearbooks that we've had to order are due any day now. So as soon as they come in, we'll be contacting people, letting them know that they're ready. And that's all I have, unless you have something for me.
Thank you, Miss Hamilton. And do we have any more principals?
Miss Goodman.
Miss Goodman?
Hello, can you hear me?
Sure can.
Okay, I feel like all I'm going to be doing is just repeating what everyone has said. But first off on the list, I really appreciate Mr. Shannon and everyone who had a hand in getting the window tinting. That has been such a huge help. in many different ways, not just for safety, but several other reasons. So we really appreciate that. I also want to thank him for the fence that they are putting up now on the football field and around the parking lot. Those are some definite safety issues that we've had for the last several years, and so I cannot say enough. I think that was the talk last night on Messenger between all the teachers, and they drove by and saw that it was going up. That has been a huge safety issue for all the teachers and everybody on this campus, so we really appreciate that. I want to thank the high school. I'm doing this as a parent right now. I appreciate everything that they went through. I know that it was a huge, huge undertaking, and I'm sure that it took some years off several of them's lives for everything they've had to go through, but it was wonderful. We appreciate that. As a parent, I appreciate that, and I know it took a lot for them to do that, and allowing them to come be with their parents there at the end. While I know that was kind of a surprise for everybody, it was such a nice surprise. And it went really, really well. I have heard some others talk that have seen what we did in other counties, and now they're scratching their head going, why did we not think of that? Why did we not do that? So that wasn't just something that I know they just popped out. I mean, that took time. It took planning, and I know those plans changed over and over and over, and I know it was frustrating, but it was well worth it, and thank you, and we appreciate everything you did. Same thing that the other principals have said again, sports physicals. We are sending out all calls now, letting parents know that those are able to be picked up and they can go ahead and get those started. Janitors, same boat. They're able to have time to finish up classrooms a little bit early. Our floors are almost finished, so they're tackling a lot of these little issues that kind of get put to the side that we now have time to take a better look at. But we're just trucking right along and getting everything ready for the upcoming school year. And that's all I have, unless you have something for me.
Thank you, Ms. Goodman. And do we have Miss Amy Jeffers available?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Pretty much in the same boat as all the rest of the schools. Our janitors were able to start the floors early, so they should be actually finished by this Friday if nothing comes in the way. Because of the wax, our front door to the building is locked, so I've tried to let parents know that. They've done a really good job with doing the office and the main hallways, so that door is going to remain locked all week so that floor will have the chance to dry. Next week, though, if parents need to come by and pick up grade cards or their student supplies that were left, they can. Because we're not letting anyone into the school right now, sports physical forms are in the filing cabinet outside. I do ask that the parents not bring completed forms to the school until the coaches are there and ready to take those, because we don't want that left outside in the filing cabinet. And lastly, a lot of parents are asking about annuals. We really haven't heard anything from Life Touch. We're just kind of waiting for them to give us a call. They had first said the end of May, but they didn't come. So now we're thinking it's going to be on into the summer. But as soon as those get delivered, we will do an all call for them to come down and pick those up. And I think that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Jeffers.
Mm-hmm.
All right, how about Sharon Stanley?
Hi, everyone. I am here. I want to give a shout out to my custodians and to Miss Alma. The custodians have been hard at work keeping the rooms sanitized. They are also doing some painting on the inside, and they are, of course, waxing floors. I want to thank Mr. Shannon for some supplies that they're using for that. And they are getting a head start since ASP will not be here this year because of the pandemic. ASP is not going to be at our school this year. They will continue the third year on their contract with us next year, assuming that conditions are a little more regular. I also want to call attention to the fact that Winfield School will be needing a full-time nurse when the year starts. We did have a full-time nurse up until the break at Christmas, and then she left to take care of a child, and we had a 4-day substitute for the rest of the year. So we are looking for having a full-time nurse with COVID and with the students we have that have diabetes and seizures. We are very interested in securing that personnel before the school year starts. Like the other principals said, we received the physical forms. Thanks to Mr. Shoemaker for getting those to us. We're asking our coaches to help us encourage the students to come by the office and pick up that paperwork. Mr. Hall, I did have a question on that from a couple of parents, if you don't care. Since we're sending the students with the packet on their own and not by bus from the schools to the Boys and Girls Club as we normally do, am I correct in saying that they are to make an appointment? Does that have to be with either Grace or Mountain Peoples, or do they just go to their own physician?
They are able to go to whoever their own physician is.
Okay, thank you, Brent. And then one more question on that from the parents. This is what I understood from the all-call. If they have TennCare will cover that. If they have private insurance, the private insurance will cover that. But unlike what we've done in the past, if they don't have any insurance, then they are going to have to cover the cost. Is that correct?
Yes, if they do not have insurance, they will have to cover the cost of whatever that office, that particular office that they go to, charges.
Okay.
What they're actually trying to do with the TennCare and private insurance is, if you've not had a well child check for this 2020 year, those two offices are going to allow you to come in and have the well child check, which is free on most of those insurances, and do the sports physical in with that, so it does not charge that student. Now, if they do go to another office besides those two, I'm not guaranteeing you that they'll do that well child check and sports physical combined. Just those two offices is who we have talked to.
Okay, is there going to be a similar cost from both of those areas, Brent, or?
No, they are different.
Okay.
And they will just get to check with them when they call about the price. I don't want to advertise the price between the two different offices, but yes, they will have to contact that office and get that price on their own.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And as far as yearbooks go, just kind of what Miss Amy said, we're waiting on Life Touch. They have told us that the yearbooks should be there by the end of this month, and so that is a hope for us. It's not a guarantee, but to the parents, we hope to have those at the end of June. And that's all I have, unless the board members have a question.
All right, that's all of our principals that's available. So we're going to start with the rest of you all. Mr. Shoemaker, would you like to address the board?
Thank you. Each one of you should have this packet. Every year at this time, we have to sit in our application for the next school year for coordinated school health. I do not print out the whole packet for you because it's over 170 pages. If you would like to see that, I will definitely get that for you, but just to save you time from looking through that, all I give you is the very main important things. And what this is, the first part, that's the goals and objectives. I'm not going to go over those with you, but what they require me to have is 3 goals. And inside those 3 goals, I must have 3 to 4 objectives. And then inside of each one of those objectives for those goals, I have to have 3 or 4 action steps to meet and complete those objectives and goals. So I will let you read through those and see those. I need that to be approved, please, to be able to move on with coordinated school health funding for next year. The very last page is my budget proposal for the 2021 school year, so you can see the line items and kind of where things will be placed with our budgets. And we try to put a little extra in each one of our line items to kind of cover costs, so we don't have to be in a shortfall maybe later on. So that is coordinated school health and what we're looking to do for next school year. Before I move on, do any of you have any questions about that? Okay, I have pretty much already addressed the sports physical thing. But I do want to say this. We're in different waters. You know, we've never been here before as far as how we do the sports physicals. And I've even had this question somebody asked, well, why are you really working with just Mountain People's and Grace Primary? And just to let you know, this is not a knock on any of the other doctor's offices around here or anywhere else. But those two offices for several years now are the two offices that have really reached out to the schools and offered to do this at no charge up at the Boys and Girls Club. So while they have done that for us, I feel like it's only right for us to do that for them, to kind of see what their plan is and work through. So that's where all that information and why that information is coming through those two. Do any of you have any questions about the sports physicals and the different setup this year? All right, if you don't mind, Mr. Hall, I'm going to take just a minute personally. I want to tell you all this. I could not thank you enough, all of you, for the prayers for our family during the time with my mother. You know how serious that was, how rough that was. A lot of people do not understand how she made it through, but we all do know how she made it through. She made it through with the help of the Lord. And then after that, the reason she's been able to recover and the pace that she has is because of the prayers of people like you all. And thank you is about all we can say, but it does not cover or come close to covering what that actually means to us. So thank you very much for that. She has been home for about 2.5 weeks. She's getting stronger each and every day. And this week, yesterday, she actually stood on her left leg for about 45 seconds. So we are making progress and trying to get her stronger and work toward the prosthetic. So I just want to thank you all personally very much for your prayers. They're very much appreciated. And nothing else you could have done for us would have meant any more than the prayers from God's people. So thank you all very much for that. And that's all I have, unless you all have something for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shoemaker. Mr. Shannon, your name has been brought up a lot tonight by the principals. He's been doing a good job.
Just kind of going through everything from the maintenance side. The crew's been doing outstanding, working on a lot of projects. Got some concrete poured out at the Fairview bleachers, ready for Toadvine Enterprises to come in and put in an ADA compliant ramp and seating for that stadium, along with doing some other things to get it up to code. Also, they have successfully poured the concrete slab out at the maintenance department for the food services to put a freezer out there, as well as run the electrical. It's a pretty big project, and the guys have done outstanding with that. Also, they're getting a head start, obviously, on a lot of the year-end maintenance requests, working through those things, and feel real good about where the maintenance department is from that standpoint right now. Also, just to let everybody know, Coach Hall and I was having a conversation just a moment ago earlier, that we are starting to hear from some vendors letting us know that additional resources will be available to the school systems with sanitizers, with things that are used to clean and sanitize our buildings, facilities, whether it be a bus, whether it be the schoolhouses or classrooms, whatever the case may be. So that's the first bit of good news that we've heard in that. Before, everything that we were hearing was these particular devices will be in back order all the way until December in some cases. So now we're starting to hear that it'll be a few weeks well in advance of school starting again anew. So that is welcome news to us. From the textbooks, we're hearing or seeing that talking with a lot of the publishers, trying to get the teacher resource materials into their hands as quickly as possible. Obviously, with some new ELA resources coming in, that's a big deal. So I promise you, we're working as hard as we can to get those into our buildings as quickly as possible. Also working now to get our digital resources available as quickly as possible to our students, to the parents, and to the teachers. and trying to get that all lined up, working with Mr. Greg Bond on that, and with the different publishers that we've got. So from the textbooks, that's where we're at right now. CTE all day this morning actually is in a virtual meeting. The spring directors meeting will be all week in that. Also, one bit of good news from the CTE standpoint, Ms. Rector and I on Friday are going to be participating in a conference call with Mr. Matthew Spinella, who is the State Director of Work-Based Learning. Work-based learning is a new thing it's kind of new, but it's a very applicable thing for a lot of our high school students. You get this senior who at the end of their senior year, they're ready to go to work. And this is a state-directed program. This is a program that is encouraging these students who have done everything the right way, that fit this criteria, to be able to be put into this program. And with us reaching out to some of the community businesses and companies and things like that our community has to offer, working with them and partnering with them to allow those students to go to work. So Ms. Rector's very excited about this program, and I am too. I think it'll be a very, very good addition to our CTE program at the high school. So, but at that, that's all I've got, unless you've got any questions for me.
Thank you, Mr. Shannon. Ms. Sexton.
How is everybody?
We're doing good.
In May, we were able to bring our teachers together. Of course, we met in groups of 9 or 10, but we did complete our IEP file folder review monitoring. So I want to thank Ms. Donna for letting us use her library so we could spread out and have our social distancing. We were able to complete our CRT training, and we wanted to get that done before school started so our teachers didn't have to get a sub. I want to thank Ms. Tanya for allowing us to use her gym. So we were able to get that training out of the way. We did have our follow-up monitoring exit report with our detention center. We did not have any findings, and we were given exemplary status, which we were very pleased with that. Of course, like everybody else at the central office, we've been involved in a lot of webinars, team training, Zoom training with the State Department. And I do want to thank Tanier. Lynn Human at Tanier was able to get a face mask for our special ed teachers that participated in our training, and also for our assistants that participated in that CRT training. So we appreciated that so much. I do have 2 things for the agenda. You all probably have those packets up there at your desk for our related services. We did bid out our related services, and we only have the 2 companies that we use now. We have Grace Rehab. You should have a packet up there, I think somewhere in your folder. And then we also have Sidekick Therapy. Curly Communications has sold their business to Sidekick, so they're now called Sidekick. And then also I do have a contract with Dara Klein. She does provide our behavioral services to children that have challenging behaviors. She helps write up the behavior plan and all of that. So if you all would go ahead and approve those on the agenda. But that's all I have, unless you all have any questions.
Will that Sidekick program be the same thing as Deborah Curley?
Yes.
I heard you say that. So
yes, it's the same therapist. It's just they have a different CEO. They're located now in Nashville instead of Knoxville.
Okay.
But it's just pretty much the same. And of course, we did put out, as far as our extended school year, we usually do that summer program with some of our CDC students. So because of all of the pandemic and all of that, we did offer the online services. We didn't have any parents that wanted online extended school year academics, but we do have a lot of our children that are participating in the teletherapy for the speech language OTPT. So it's the same therapist pretty much, it's just a different name, different company name.
All right.
Curly still with Sidekick? Yeah, she's.
Well, she was the younger, so she had sold it. She sold it, and so the person I deal with now, his name is Dave Henson. So Deborah Curley and her husband are pretty much out of the picture now. And I will tell you all that there was a rise in price. There was an increase on every level, on the therapy, on the evaluations, on the paperwork. There was an increase, and I talked to Mr. Hall about that, and there's really not a whole lot we can do because we really didn't have anybody else to bid, that contract. So we'll just have to bite the bullet and do the best we can.
All right, thank you. And now we'll have our food service director, Ms. Paulette King.
Can you hear me?
Can.
I've got one thing on the agenda, and it's for the Smart Mouth Pizza. And hopefully someday we'll be back in school and we can bake some of those off. So we need to renew our contract. If I can get permission to renew the bid for the Smart Mouth Pizza. Then besides that, we finished out the year with our meals that we were serving on the SSO program. We served 150,076 meals, which is astonishing to me. We also have the Meals to You program that I put out, that we had an open window through Baylor and USDA that households could apply for meals for the summer, which would come through the mail. We had over 800 apply. Miss Melanie has been going through. We have to verify each and every participant and their addresses. So we just like a few having all of those checked off, and hopefully we'll send those on to Baylor tomorrow. Someone posted on Facebook, it's my understanding, about the PEBT cards that is going to be offered through DHS. And we've been getting a lot of calls, so I'm going to give you the information that I know so far about the card. There's a couple phases that has to be done with this program. And phase one is the data. And that information comes from all of the school nutrition programs throughout the state. And fortunately for us, we are CEP, so all of our students will qualify. Now, if there is a system that is not CEP, it will only be the free and reduced that will be eligible, that they will have to send in. So all of our students in our county will be eligible. This is going to be, I was in a WebEx today, and they gave us a few dates on this. June 5th is the deadline for all the data to be put in to the state. Now, after June 5th, we have no other dates at this time, but there is what they call the enrollment program that will open up and will go live. Now, we have no idea right now when that's going to be. That will be up whenever all the data is put in, and I'm assuming DHS does their part, and then they will put it up and it will go live. When that happens, then they will let us know, and we will be able to help put out the word when households can go into the application. Now, everyone will have to do an application, is my understanding, if they do not have a case number. Now, if they already have a case number, then their cards will automatically be loaded. The monies that they'll receive was at the beginning of this, from when it started in March, it goes through May the 22nd. They're supposed to receive $5.70 per day. Now, if you do not have if the household does not have a case number, they will have to wait. When this goes live, they will have to go online and do the application. Now, we don't have anything to do with that. We just furnish the information. They'll have to go through DHS in order to do that. But we will have more information coming out. And when we do, they're going to notify us, and we'll have flyers, and I'm sure have Miss Lietta to make an announcement. and everything, and there'll be others. DHS will be doing their part and so forth. But now that's all I know at this time about that. They're welcome to call us, but as far as any other information, we don't have it at this time. And other than that, that's all that I have. Now, I will say this on the card. If they already have a case number, they will be the first to get these monies. They will automatically load those cards because they don't have to apply. But if they have to apply to go through the application process, it's my understanding they'll receive a white card, and it'll be a one-time card, and then when it's approved, they will load the monies onto it and send it to the household. And that's all I have, unless anyone has questions for me.
I have a question about that summer program. You said you have 800 applicants?
Over 800 people that went online and applied, yes.
How many people will they accept, allowed to get that?
Well, they'll get all of them will qualify if their addresses and the person that they put down is correct. That's what we have to verify.
All right. And is it too late to get involved in that program?
Yes, it is. You had a window, and once it closed, They closed it out.
All right. Because there may be some question about that.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Ms. King.
You're
All
welcome.
right. We'll have Amanda Stevens now.
Oh, hello everybody. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I don't have anything for the agenda for tonight. Stuff that I've been working on recently. The CARES Act opened up last week. It will close on June the 15th, so I'm hoping to meet with Landmark on Thursday. They've decided they wanted some of these funds, and then I will hopefully get that turned in on Friday. And then I'm also working on the SRO grant that came available yesterday. It's not due back until July 17th, but I'm hoping to get that back in as soon as possible as well. And that's all I have, unless y'all have any questions.
No, thank you. And do we have anybody else online?
No, I think that's it online.
Okay, then we'll have Miss Keaton. Saved her.
Mr. Bond.
Oh,
Greg.
Mr. Bond. Okay, sorry, Greg.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Really, nothing been going on. Been chill, no work. It's just relaxing. I was gonna have the same backdrop as Miss King there, but I didn't want to show off too much.
You can come join me, Greg.
Okay, all right. It's looking like right now we're just trying to start our summer as normal. To try and carry through some of the plans and stuff we were making back during the school year, and we've got some labs to replace, some classrooms to move, some wiring to run. Pretty much the standard thing. But always in the back of our mind, like every other conversation is, what's next year going to look like? And as you all are well aware, we're getting almost no guidance at all from outside, from the higher ups. So right now it's just a whole lot of questions. We have plans, but every plan has a big positive and a big negative associated with it. So I'm hoping that we as a district, as we continue to meet a few more times, come up with something that's both workable and sustainable going forward, because right now the level of uncertainty with every solution, there's no one that we feel comfortable going with 100%. So, but we are having those conversations. We are, and we welcome any questions and stuff. I will tell you though that we don't know what we don't know. So if we make a decision on something and then tomorrow the state comes out and says, hey, we want you to do this other thing, then we have to figure out a way to do that other thing. So, but know that we're working. We're here every day. So, and as always, if you need us, just call.
Well, thank you, Mr. Bond. We'll now have Miss Keaton. We've saved her for last because she looks like she's got quite a bit.
I do, and Miss Diane, I didn't realize you didn't have the folders. I had to spread them out. Mr. John, would you
The yellow
pass
one.
that down to Diane, that folder?
This one right here?
Yes. I thought you were first over here, and I had a folder there, and then you moved over there.
You know I don't stay in one place too long.
Okay. We haven't met for a while, not in an in-person meeting, so there were some things that I just kind of saved and held up until we could. I talked to Mr. Hall. We considered about just putting this in your mailbox and letting you look at it, but then I thought, well, there would probably be some questions. So if you look at what's in your folder, the state report card, the district and the school report card has been available for a little while. When it first came out, we had trouble even finding it, and then found it, and I've had it printed off for actually 2 or 3 months, probably since March. But anyway, it's pretty good for the district. But if you look at this first sheet, and I just printed this off for you, so if you had any questions about the different topics like academic achievement, growth, chronically out of school, those types of things, this would be explanatory, and I know most of you already understand what those things are. But the first one that I printed was the Scott County Schools, the district report card. And if you'll just look at that, you can see our success rate is 28%, which is not really outstanding. But if you will look in every single area, math, English language arts, social studies, we increased from 2018. And certainly that's what we want to always be doing. And if you look on this first page, that's where I am right now, showing the success rate and then an increase from 2018. If you look at the next page, you can see how that compares with the state. And you also can see about our special groups. And we are proud of the fact that we have kept improving. And if you look at this third page, it says student growth. Now, student growth sometimes is hard to understand because that simply means I don't care where a student is. When they go into a classroom, we always want them to improve. Achievement simply means what they scored on that test any given day, whenever it is, that's that one-time score. Kind of what's used to be called, what you're familiar with is probably proficient advanced. Those terms have changed. But if you look at student growth, how much are students improving overall, that 3 is really, really good. 3 out of 5 for overall student growth in everything. So that's really good. And if you look at language arts, what is so outstanding is a level 5 in growth. We have really, really done well in English language arts, and even math is a level 4. So that's about the best you can do. Of course, a 5 is the best you can do. Social studies is not as high, but honestly, there are some times we have to concentrate on that reading, language arts, and that math. And sometimes social studies and science gets left behind a little bit more, but that is an area, and of course science we didn't test and we'll be able to start later. So are proud of especially that English language arts and that math. If you look at chronically out of school, and sometimes that's hard to understand, but if you look at this little self-help sheet on chronically out of school, that means students who miss at least 10% of school or about 18% during the year. So chronically out of school, we were 9.7%, and we have increased just a fraction from 2018. So in the in-school suspensions, out of school expulsions, well, not expulsions, we did have a decrease there, but we did increase a little bit in the suspensions and the out-of-school suspensions. And then if you look at how that compares with the state, we are a little bit better. We are 9.7, where the state is 12.5. So you can see, I mean, we're proud of that fact. Ready Graduate, again, for Ready Graduate and average ACT composite, we do have an increase. And that's what we want to always do, is to keep improving. So we will build on that and then just continue to improve. Going on to the next few pages, you can see how it compares with the state. We still have some work to do, but again, we have shown progress. So that's pretty much, you can see how it compares with the state. That's pretty much the school district. Quite honestly, we're pretty proud of that. I mean, there are some areas we could improve, but showing the fact that we are making progress is very encouraging. And then the rest of the report cards are laid out that very same way, except if you look at the school one, the first page of the school one is a little bit different than the district one. It shows you all of the categories. It shows you that academic achievement, what students score and how well they score based on out of 4 on that given day of the test, and it also shows you a summary. That first page is just a good summary, a good overall summary for what schools have done. Academic achievements there, student growth, chronically out of school, and we in most cases have not had enough students for the language proficiency. So you can, and also on the second page, you can look and see if we have had an increase. I'm just looking at Birchfield's right now. I can see on academic achievement they have had an increase. So that's what we always want to do, is do a little bit better and move toward improving always. So that's pretty much, and I'm going to let you just take those and look at them. If you have any questions, just feel free to call me, but in most cases, those are pretty much self-explanatory. Any questions you have right now? And I know that's a lot of stuff, but I also read recently that because we didn't test this year, we will be having the same report card next year, other than updating all the demographics. Because we didn't test, there's no scores to show if we improved in achievement or how we did in growth and those types of things. So this is basically what you're going to see next year, except demographics will be improved. Okay, if you will look, now any questions about that right off the top of your head? Okay, if you will look at this next little packet of stuff, this is the focus foundational skills. I don't know if you remember, and since we haven't met in a while, I don't know if I have mentioned the fact that for a while the Governor Lee, had big plans to update, revise, rearrange the early literacy program. And that was pretty much pre-K 2. And I'll be honest with you, in thinking about our scores ourselves, I think if we could improve K2, we would see a big improvement in 3rd grade also. Because the reading series that we've had in the past, and what we had Hope Mifflin for K2, then we had Scott Forsman, or what we used to call Pearson, for 3-6, I think, 3-5 or 3-6. And there was just a big gap. But anyway, he had big plans. We were going to have 2 weeks of training, and they were going to redo everything and make it more phonics based. And then all this happened, and the budget got cut. Some things are still up in the air about whether or not they'll do it. But then the state came out with this. These focus foundational skills target pre-K 2. Every single grade has a list of skills. And these are things that teachers are expected to teach, along with the basal that they're teaching. Well, what makes it harder for us, pre-K and pre-K 2, we did not choose the same basal that the state took these foundational skills from. So what our principals now are having to try to do is find a way to gather up, you know, the materials and the strategies and the information that their teachers need to do a good job with this. So these are skills that the state set forth, and there is training on that. There is videos available this summer, and I'll tell you about that in just a minute. But anyway, this is a draft right now, but it is what's going to happen. And if you look at some of these, if we could work on every single one of these skills for K2, our third grade would be ready. Those kids would be ready for third grade. Anyway, just in case you hear about it or anything, I wanted to share that with you just to know. Then, as part of that training, instead of that 2-week in-person training for every reading teacher and every anybody that has anything to do with reading, our instructional coaches, even our principals, that, the way I understand it now, probably will not happen as an in-person training. But this sheet right here just shows you what the state has sent out to help teachers, to give teachers a little bit more information on these foundational skills that they sent out. And if you see the link, there's a letter that gives them, and I think I printed that off for you all. I can't remember if I did or not. But when I forwarded this to principals and teachers to get it, all they have to do is click on the links. They can see the videos, and I watched some of them, and they are just good. So this is one thing teachers could do online this summer, along with, there is a 7-part section on understand foundational skills, and it's a different link. So there's 7 parts that teachers can do and get a certificate, count for in-service training or PDP points or whatever they need. And so it's on the different components of phonics, phonological skills, early reading, those different types of things that they're going to need to know. So that's going to be available. Also, what's going to be available online, and right now, we don't know what PD is going to look like. So many teachers have said, hey, when are we going to get your list of summer trainings that we can come to and do our, get our in-service? And right now, we don't know about safe distancing. We haven't got much guidance, have we, Mr. Hall, on whether or not I was able to meet with pre-K teachers, but there's just 9 of them, and that space downstairs, safe distancing allows 9. But anyway, another opportunity though, the State Department of Education has partnered with Tribeca, and anybody can do this. And this is, I've already had several that signed up for that. This is an online training program that would really help teachers understand remote teaching, use of instructional technology tools, and you can see on this page all the different topics that they could learn if they could do that. So that is available. Also, I wanted to mention, I have set up pre-K training with our reading program that we have now. The little lady from the state and our pre-K has said that we need to do training. Well, there's just 9 of us, so not sure if we're going to be able to do it in person or if they're going to do it remotely, and and we're going to have a webinar, what it is. But there is 6 hours set up for them in late June or July for just the pre-K to try to give them the training that they need. One thing that our teachers are happy about it, I want to report to you. Instead, remember the portfolios and what a nightmare they've been? The state has said this year that we can use STAR Early Literacy instead. So we are used to having STAR Early Literacy. So I had enough money to order that program. So pre-K and K in kindergarten can do that for the portfolio, and that's assuming that everything goes as it should, so they can do the portfolio. And that's going to take a lot of aggravation and a lot of time from teachers who were having to spend trying to get ready for that. The other thing I wanted to mention is Ready Rosie. Have y'all heard about that? Well, it's a program that's offered from birth to 3rd grade, I think. And I'm sure Greg remembers that he had to put in all the students and all the parents and all the contact information of all those kids and send to that program. And it's such a good thing. And all the districts are participating, but I'm just going to tell you, it's been an aggravation trying to get that ready. But finally, we have had a lot of parents that's registered for it. A lot of little programs, a lot of little videos they can watch, even as young as birth to grade 3. And then this summer they will get books on a regular basis through until September. So it's a good thing.
That's called what? Ready Rosie.
Ready Rosie.
Okay.
And if you just type in Ready Rosie, I mean, the state's really pushing that program, especially for those lower grades. That gives a little bit extra help to those K2s and even, younger than that, and even preparing for 3rd grade. So it's a good thing. But I did check, and we've had a lot of parents that sign it. We were supposed to be able to set our teachers up so they could keep in contact. Well, that didn't work. We've had some parts of that program that we've been supposed to do that just didn't work. But we've managed, and it's going. So hopefully that's been something. That'll be something good. But as far as PD and what else we're doing, I'm not sure right now. We're just taking a little bit of time, and I feel really bad. That's the one frustration I have, because usually by this time we have 15 good summer trainings set up for teachers. And right now we do not. So, but we are finding some things online, and I just wish the governor would or somebody would give us a little bit more guidance on what we can do. But right now we just don't know. So any questions about any of that stuff? I've been saving it up for you. All right, thanks.
Is that everyone that needs to address the board? We'll turn it over to you, Mr. Hall.
Thank you, Ms. Diane. Items for the agenda. Of course, first thing on the list, we want to ask the board to approve the use of school facilities. Now, normally by this time I've heard from Mayor Jeffers as far as with the Fireman's Fourth, they use the football field at Huntsville.
I think they're still planning.
Still planning on going. Good. Okay, so I would like to put that on the agenda on the use of the school facilities. Also, I would like to approve the ALCWE agreement for collecting the student data. I would like to approve the following out-of-state and overnight trips. These are for board members of the TSBA Annual Convention and Leadership Conference on November 12th to the 15th, Nashville, Tennessee. Also, I would like to accept the Dollar General Literacy Foundation grant. That is for Huntsville Elementary and Scott High School, and both those are in the amount of $8,000 that Ms. Nancy Stringer has done probably for the past several years, yes. And that's all as far as with the items on the agenda. Ms. Reckford asked me to personally thank each and every one of you all for the graduation. We started planning this, and I'm going to say she started planning this. I was just there to say yay, nay, or whatever we need to do. But I watched plans be laid out and then unfold. What you thought was a really good plan, just watch it unfold before your eyes within a matter of minutes. Then another plan get put in place. And then another plan get put in place. And finally, when we got settled on what we could do, and I want to say that this is probably one of the best, if not the best, graduation, providing the circumstances and as smooth as it went and as well as it went. I can't tell you the number of people, from parents, grandparents who were there or watched online that said the same thing. First of all, thank you for medical providers that was there to help The 70-plus sky-high faculty, people that help pull that off. About as well organized as it could possibly be. It's got high administration for the countless hours that went into that. And when I say countless, I do mean countless as far as the time that was spent organizing it and making sure that it went as well as it did. To everyone that prayed over our school system that this could be as good as it was. To the students, what a great group, well behaved, and we'll put our kids with anybody, anywhere, anytime when it comes to those ceremonies. And our parents, grandparents, and anyone that attended, for your patience. Everyone there had a mask on, kept a mask on, followed by what was being said or being done. I know the students took their mask off as they come across the stage, which we were given directions from the health department, said it would be okay. And also they said, Mr. Director, to take hers off to speak. So, you know, we follow the guidelines. I think our people follow those guidelines. Sheriff's Department, who was there helping. Unlocking gates to make sure it's helping traffic as they come in and out. Guys, like I said, the time and organization went in that was countless. Big thank you to everyone to make sure that went off as good as it did. Ms. Amanda didn't mention tonight about the CARES Act. We have received a pretty good amount of money that we can spend on our system in the CARES Act. I would like to ask if the board members, if you would get 2 representatives. We're going to meet again on this Friday at central office, because as we start spending this money, we want you guys to know, would you be a part of it as we start making plans on what, how we need to, and things that we need. So we'd like for you guys to be a part of that also. We do know that we're going to look at a lot of technology. As we saw this year, as when this hit, as probably we did as well as we could, as well as anybody. I truly feel that. But we know that we can improve so much more in order to improve the quality of education. As we met this week, I know Mr. Bond mentioned earlier about plans for school. But anyway, if you guys will get 2 representatives, you can meet Friday at 9 o'clock. Doesn't matter which 2, or if y'all want to come, okay, that's perfectly fine. And Mr. Bond mentioned earlier about plans for start of the next school year. Well, you know, we're getting pretty little to no guidance right now. It's kind of look like it's going to be up to a local LEA, and that may change. As I know right now we're in phase 2 of the governor's plan of reopening. Scott County's been very fortunate. I think we've had 11 cases throughout the county. I can't tell you how many weeks we've not had an active case, and we have 0 cases as we speak today. Looking at data, look at that, if it says to me, we look at it from a local perspective, then I'm going to say we're going to school. And it would be hopefully with everyone. That's going to be one of our plans. Of course, with that being said too, we'll have to plan some things that's put in place by the health department, by the CDC, and also through the state if they give the guidance out for that. So it's one plan. Another plan was to split schedules, half one day, half the next, and then possibly a learning from home day on Friday. And then of course is everything online at home, depending on where we are at that time. So we'd like to take some of the CARES Act to help us better prepare if this does come into place again. And as Ms. Amanda said, that closes on June 15th, and we may not be able to purchase anything, you know, till August. Don't know right now as far as when, you know, the money's made available that we can spend. You remember what day it was, Greg, when they said we could possibly start looking at spending the money? Well, we've got like 2022 to spend it, all of it. But you remember what date they said we could start spending it if it was approved? See, listen.
I think he's thinking.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you talking to me?
Yeah, on you. There you go. You remember the date that they said we could start spending the CARES Act, or Amanda? Y'all remember that date?
I think that's more of an Amanda question, but she's got that deadline of like
June 15th.
next week, the week after.
And Now, I think we got 2022 to spend it all, or apparently, or 2021, or anyway. Amanda, do you remember?
I would think once our board approves it and then the county commission has to approve it. So what is that, a 2-month process? Then I would think we would be able to start spending it.
Okay. So, we could be looking possibly August before we can start spending this. Then you got to get stuff in, once you order.
Yeah.
So that could take a while.
Anything technology is going to take forever because every school district in the country is going to be trying to do the same thing.
So we have some plans looking at technology we'd like to share with you guys too, with that. The main thing is we just want to be prepared. I think that's the biggest thing. If we have to social distance, I know that Tima's preparing Paulette and food services to feed the classroom. We're getting things in, we know of that. So that's one way to be prepared. How do we social distance on the bus? I talked to Mr. Bowles, he's looking on a 66 passenger bus. And if you abide by the social distance rules, you can get 11 kids. And if you on a 78 passenger bus, I think we can get 13. So you can see the amount we may have to double routes or more parents drive. If we take temperatures that day, do we take it before they get on the bus? Do we take it before they get to school, or when they get to school? So there's a lot of things that we're going to have to plan. It's going to be a huge undertaking, guys, if some things are still in place. We'll get it. We'll work through it and we will get it. It's going to take all of us. I'll say that much. And when I say all of us, I mean all of us. No idea is a bad idea. And we will set forth, hopefully in the next few weeks, start ironing out the plans that we're looking for next year. Also, I'd like to mention that starting on June the 1st, yesterday, that we did open the weight rooms for conditioning for the athletes at Scott High School. Now, also by doing that, we are abiding by the CDC and the National Federation of High School Athletics guidelines that have been put in place. And also by the state of Tennessee as far as what phase 2, that's where we are. So with that being said, we hope and pray that all of our coaches are abiding by those rules, are doing, they gave directions to every student, athlete, and to all the parents. They're there. So I'm very proud of the fact that our coaches have taken the time and effort to reach out and also to follow the guidelines that are in place. Also a reminder, principals, I'd like to have our teams meeting tomorrow, 9 o'clock. And we'll start looking at some plans and stuff on that with you guys also too. So start getting your thinking caps on, guys, as going forward. And guys, that's all I have, unless y'all have any questions for me.
I think so. Okay, we'll hear from individual board members. Mr. Silcox, do you have anything? Ms. Sharp? Mr. Stanley?
No. I'd just like to thank Greg for all his hard work during this pandemic. And Mr. Shannon, you've been busy. You're doing a good job. And Paulette, I know that's countless hours that she's worked. I'm thankful to everybody, and the graduation was wonderful.
I'll have to second that, Ms. Kim. All of it was great. Mr. Beatty, you have anything?
I got a question. I may have missed this. What is the status of the Summer Law Institute? Is it canceled?
As of right now, it's on. And I've not heard anything. I know Coach Stanley called the other day. He said there were rooms now available at the Park Vista. I called immediately. They are not. They told me there's not one room in the block. There's not one room outside of the block. And we are at Hampton Inn at the bottom of the hill. We are on a list at Park Vista and on a list with TSBA on a waiting list, along with several others, that if there's anything available comes open, they will put us there. So we're going to wait till July 1st to pay send the check, just in case, we hear something in the next few weeks that it's canceled. But as of today, it's go.
All right, that concludes our meeting today, and we'll meet you all next week.
It was good to see everybody.
Yes, it was.